Bienvenidos, welcome. It's me, Joe Wright, El Gringo Más Mexicano, and we have a great show for you today. I'm here with Diana Holman from Rio Rico Rides and Troquero Transport, actually, and Rio Rico Rides is a DBA.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about this new endeavor, and something that, if you read my column in the Nogales International, you know that public transportation is something that's important to me. And then right after the column published, this opportunity came up, right? So I wanted to talk to you about it. But before we get into the interview, I want to thank you for being with us today. We got, obviously, our events and news that we need to cover. But first, an update from us. This is the first time, from now on, we are not just doing Facebook Live, we're also doing YouTube Live. So if you're watching on Facebook, you can also watch this live right now on YouTube, which is a cool step for us. Expand our audience and, just continue to grow.
Very cool.
All right, so now on to upcoming events this week. There's so much. As soon as October hits, there's just so much going on.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't calm down, right? Well, starting off with tomorrow, actually, Nogales Public Library celebration at December 6th from 2 to 3 p.m. There will be Santa Claus, piñata, and more. So if you have, if you're down in town between 2 and 3 p.m. tomorrow, come on down to the Nogales Public Library and take part in that celebration. In Rio Rico on December 8th, actually just down the street from my house, is the Rio Rico Santa's Garden of Lights. It's December 8th, 5 to 8 p.m. There will be champuro, cookies, and more performances by the Rio Rico High School Jazz Band, and the Hawks Dance Team will be there. The address is 391 Avenida Coramundi. If you don't know where that is, it's actually, you know where the community center is in Rio Rico? Or where the fitness center is?
Yes, I do. On the other side.
Yeah, so it's right where the Racket Club is. They have that sort of a garden area, enclosed garden.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so they decorate it every year, and then they do this little celebration to
very
kind
nice.
of kick it off.
I have to take some of my grandkids.
And then on the 9th, December 9th, is M&M Family Orchard's Christmas Vendor Festival Part 2. And that is from 12 to 5 p.m. There will be local vendors, food, drinks, and Santa Claus will be there. And Santa Claus will be there from 3 to 5 p.m. So if you want to come see Santa Claus and get some pictures taken, then come on down. That's, again, M&M Family Orchards. And you can find all of that information on our Facebook page or on theirs. Also on the 9th, 12th Annual Wisdom's Cafe Pancake Breakfast. That is from 8 to 10 a.m. That's at Wisdom's Cafe. It includes pancakes, eggs, bacon, fruit with coffee, orange juice, and milk. Tickets are only $15, and all proceeds go to benefit the Once Trail. And then finally, also on Saturday, there's so much going on Saturday, right? La Bocanita Restaurant is going to have their Christmas pop-up event, which will also include local vendors and some food and things like that. And that will be going from 11 to 5 p.m. And it will be at 1185 Circulo Mercado in Rio Rico, where the La Bocanita's restaurant is located. And that's it for upcoming events for this week. Now on to news. December is National Impaired Driving Awareness Month. And Hope Incorporated, which is a local conglomerate of organizations and nonprofits, will be holding a ceremony on December 8th to commemorate the month. Morley Pedestrian Gate remains closed, and local businesses are still experiencing a major decline in sales as a result, despite this being the biggest shopping season of the year. The date of the planned reopening came and went last month, and officials have yet to give a solid update on when construction may be completed and when the gate can be reopened. So, I don't know if you do any of your shopping downtown, but you can see that it's not as packed as it should be. All right, and finally in news, the criminal trial for Dino Panosopoulos and Luis Manuel Flores has been delayed yet again. The new date is set for January 30th. Defendants have until January 12th to submit any changes to their plea. The trial for Felipe Fuentes, the former county assessor who allegedly received bribes and other cash gifts from Panosopoulos, has also been delayed until February 22nd, 2024. Flores allegedly acted as the middleman for these transactions. And that is it for news for today. Moving on to, something that I think is extremely important and huge news for our community. Huge news for Santa Cruz County. So, Diana Holman. Do you prefer Diana?
Diana.
Diana Holman. All right. Well, let's hear about you first. Before we get into Rio Rico Rides and the journey that led to the creation of Rio Rico Rides, let's hear about you. Who are you?
Well, I'm Diana Holman, and my grandparents moved to Nogales in 1968. They followed my uncle over here, and he owned Denny's in the 60s and the 70s. And then my parents followed them just a couple years later. And I've been here off and on ever since.
All right.
And so I know the community pretty well, and I love it.
Sure.
I've raised my children here. My grandchildren are being raised here, and I have 5 children and
Wow.
15 grandchildren.
We've been connected on social media
Yes,
for years,
a long time,
like for
yeah.
a long
Yeah.
time, and we've when everything comes up,
I bought your book for my grandchildren.
Yeah, you got
yeah.
my children's book. That's right, you got my children's book for your grandchildren for Christmas.
Yes, I did.
In a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
my daughter opened Be Pure Juices.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So entrepreneurship is in the family.
It is, yes. Yeah. My grandfather owned a welding shop here in the 60s, and my daughter owns Be Pure Juices. I have a son who does all handmade hydraulics for lowrider cars.
That's awesome.
My other son owns a brokerage, and we own the transportation company together. My other son owns Five Prizes Cleaning, which he does the Burger King and all the fire departments.
He's got some big contracts. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But he still works in produce. You know, he's got 6 children, so.
Yeah, he's got a lot of mouths to feed. For sure.
Yeah. So, but yes, there is.
So cool. So you got deep roots here that are spread out through our community, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's led you to where you are now.
Yes,
I mean, you have this
yes.
transportation business that you have with your son, and leading to Rio Rico Rides. But let's talk about public transportation for a moment, right?
Okay.
Nogales has a system, right? The city of Nogales has a system, and
Yes.
I mean, be what it may, there is a system in place that helps people get from one place to another.
Yes.
But it's limited to Nogales.
Limited system.
It's a limited system, and it is limited to city limits.
Yeah.
Only in the city of Nogales, which does not.
And not even the city of
Yeah,
Nogales.
not even the
It's
full
about
city of Nogales.
Half of the city of Nogales.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, the main plaza.
Yes.
And main plazas on Mariposa. And the border.
The border.
Yeah.
Dicancini.
Deconcini, yep, exactly. So there was a need. I mean, and my last column, in my column for November, I went into detail about not only the importance to fill this need, but the benefits that it would have to the entire county.
Yes.
People, I mean, like you said, that's only a small part of Nogales, right? I mean, Nogales is I don't want to call it a walkable city.
Yeah.
Because it's not super walkable, but it is walkable, right?
Yeah.
There are sidewalks and things like that. But you can't walk from Tubac to Nogales.
No.
You can't walk from Rio Rico to Nogales.
Or even my home on Patagonia Highway.
Yeah, you can't walk
Unless
from
you
Patagonia
miss the
Highway.
school bus at Lincoln and you have to walk home because it's the 70s and there's no phones.
Exactly. And even Rio Rico, even though there's been steps taken to make it more walkable, which it is,
Yes.
incredible steps. I love the walking paths.
The walking path is
in Rio Rico are great, and they've grown. They're spread throughout all the community now, which is great. But Rio Rico is a far spread area.
It is.
All of this is to say that there is a public transportation need. It's maybe primarily between Rio Rico and Nogales. I mean, the whole county has a need.
Yes.
But let's talk about Rio Rico and Nogales for right now. There are people, almost everybody who lives in Rio Rico does not work in Rio Rico. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
They work, they shop, they do everything in Nogales, right? And sometimes, especially when times are tough, as they have been, it's not easy to get to Nogales or even across Rio Rico.
Yeah.
And so, having that lack of public transportation is makes things difficult for people. And of course, we are a small community. We can call friends,
A neighbor,
we can call
friend,
family members, but you can't always rely on them.
Yeah.
So again, the need for public transportation, which led to my column, and which also led to Rio Rico Rides.
Yes, it did.
So tell me, when did you start to identify this need?
Well, I started identifying it when I was a single mother with 5 children. And I lived way out on Patagonia Highway. And also, even closer to now, 2, 3 years ago, my daughter did a study on the poverty here in Santa Cruz County, and she was just amazed at it because you don't see it. You don't see it because of the multi-generational families living together and stuff.
Of course,
There's always, So I started going, okay, there really, really is a need for that mother who just needs to buy a gallon of milk or maybe a few groceries for $20 where she can go to Walmart and get a couple meals, but instead she has to go to Circle K or let's say Family Dollar in Rio Rico.
Where it's sometimes twice as much.
Where you're paying triple the price of what you would at these places. And what do they do in that circumstance, I know back in my day what I would do in those circumstances when I was just, eat what I had there. So just things have led up to it. And on more of a personal level, I'm a truck driver. I've had my CDL for 26 years, and I have been over the road constantly since 2010. So my grandparents, the home I'm living in now, my grandparents bought it in 1968, and they just passed away in their 90s a couple years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that. I mean, 90s is, but
97, So I bought my childhood home. I bought my childhood home, and here I am out of the road 2-3 weeks at a time, and I cannot do anything at home. I get home, and I just want to spend time with my grandkids, and so I was trying to look to see what can I do that I could bring both of these worlds together. Rates went down very bad with our trucking company, with everybody right now. And it was just something that isn't feasible right now. So I was like, well, why don't we bring these two worlds together where this is a big need in Nogales and Rio Rico, and then also a big need of mine of being home.
Of course.
To be able to enjoy my home and enjoy my grandchildren and not have that longing for them all those weeks out on the road.
Of course, No, that's I can only imagine. For sure. And you identified a major need that this community needs, and like we said, it's not just Rio Rico; it's the entire county. But the biggest need currently is probably between Rio Rico and Nogales. At least that's the most feasible to address currently. So you identified this need for yourself and for the community.
Yes.
And what was the first step?
Well, me and my son and my other children, I have 5 children, and we were just, hey Mom, look at this shuttle, or Mom, look at this bus. Hey Mom, what do you think about this? And then I started going, okay, how am I gonna finance this? Or, so just pulling together all this and seeing what my financial ability was, and seeing if the need was like,
if it could be
really, and then what the permits cost and inspections and calling around to the county and the city and all that stuff. And then one day it just all came together and just perfectly, and we started 5 days ago.
5 days. So you've been going
for 5 days. Yes.
So you built this plan. I mean, it sounds like you really had a solid, step-by-step process of getting this set up. And I mean, I've seen the bus. It's parked outside. It's very cool. It looks very nice. Looks comfortable.
Thank you. My son did all that. He
did all the stickers.
He designed. My daughter designed it, and my son got the stickers, and he put them all on for me. So it's great having a lot of children that can help you.
So I had not seen that it's also for private events. Okay,
yes,
cool.
It is depending on the time,
Yeah,
and
of course.
Stuff
You've
like
got
that.
limits. Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I mean, obviously,
Nogales, Rio Rico is my number one priority, and if there's time to do maybe a bingo run or something like that would be ideal. Yeah.
And you do go to the Mariposa Port? Which,
I do. That's my home base right there, the Mariposa Port.
Okay.
And that's where you'll see me most of the day. I'll be driving around, stopping at all the stops and just, opening my doors, speaking to people, letting them see my signs. A lot of people still believe that I'm a private bus.
Okay, but
So,
it's also
yeah.
they think that maybe like it's not something they could just get on.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what I can do so that they, other than standing out in the cold or something,
Yeah.
and telling
Maybe
them.
some Spanish signage.
Yeah. The taxi drivers aren't too happy about me being there, so
Yeah.
I don't think they would be very happy at all
Well,
if I.
so one of the things that I was going to say is that I mean a taxi, especially like an Uber or something like that, the cost,
The cost is
especially
sky,
between
yeah.
Rio Rico and
Yeah.
Nogales,
Yeah.
is so much higher. Public
A lot.
transportation is so much cheaper because it's collecting from
Yes.
multiple customers, right?
Yes.
Do you have established routes yet? Are you building the routes, getting a feel for what things are?
Yeah, I'm getting a feel right now.
Okay.
In the beginning, before I started, I would go out in the day and just do the route on my own and see how long it would take me. I would
Yeah.
stop, open the doors, and just pretended, and figured, oh, that's going to be my route. But then I started seeing on Facebook and on just talking to people and talking to my son's friends that work in produce houses. You know what? And people on Facebook also, I repeated myself, where they'll say, hey, can you start earlier in the day? We work at the industrial park and we go in by 7. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Now, are most of the warehouse workers, are they from Rio Rico or Nogales? Or?
So right now I'm reading a mixture.
Okay.
A lot are in the produce houses.
Yeah.
Of Rio Rico.
Okay.
I've
and
gotten
they come
a couple.
from Nogales
Yes.
to the Rio Rico produce houses.
Yes, they
Okay.
do. They
All
cross
right.
at the border.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too much of a need being that early in the morning.
Yeah.
I really, really thought I was going to have a lot of students, the Rio Rico high school students.
Yeah, yeah.
And I have gotten none.
Nothing yet.
Because the thing about people is that we get into a routine.
Yeah.
And we get into where we're down there and we're like, hey, I'm getting in a taxi. Make
Yeah.
sure you're there in 15 minutes at the border. Come pick me up, mom, sister, whatever. And we're there.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then there's already, hey, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
Why don't you come with me?
And even if this is more convenient, they have a routine. They
have a
know it
routine,
works
yeah.
for sure. So really, what it's about is building the reputation.
Yes.
Building a customer base, letting people know you're there, right?
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of building and growing, I mean, what is the plan forward?
The plan, I would love to have a fleet,
Of course,
like
yeah.
the Dabdoobs back in the day when they had their
Yeah.
little blue buses down there. I don't know who's the owner now, but I would love to be able to do that, to be able to be there every 15 minutes, right
Yeah.
now as it is. If I'm doing a full route, even without getting customers on at every stop, it's still taking me an hour if I go all the way to Family Dollar. So, of course, I'm out here to provide for the community, and for somebody it kind of defeats the purpose for somebody to stand there for 59 minutes,
Yeah.
and then say, well, I'm just going to get a taxi.
Yeah.
But that's my goal.
Yeah, to have to go pick
Yeah.
up, then have somebody have
Yes.
another driver come and another bus pick up and go. For
Exactly.
sure, have, like you said, a fleet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at least 3 buses would be.
Oh, that would
solid.
be
Yeah.
ideal. Yeah, it would be ideal.
So is there a growth plan? I mean, because I have some ideas.
Yeah. I have so many too, but yeah, as far as a growth plan, right, and that's a picture of, I was just putting all the stickers on, so that's all that stuff there. But my son, he's a broker, and right now he's also looking into maybe putting one of the buses in.
Okay.
But right now we're just trying to get a feel for it. Right now would not be financially
No, of course.
good to do
it's
right
not time
now
yet. You're
because
still like we just talked about. You're figuring out the
Yeah.
routes. You're
Figuring
figuring
it
out
out,
your
yeah.
customers' needs.
Exactly.
And I think that this is the perfect time for you to be working
Yeah,
that out. I mean,
and I think it's great that, well, it's not actually great, but it's a good that I am sitting up there and observing a lot, and I am sitting up there for that amount of time. I'm observing, I'm talking, I'm getting a lot of feedback from people. But if I was just busy all the time, I couldn't get that, because by the time the day is over with, I don't want to look at the social media and the messages and all that stuff. So it's good for me just to sit there and just I like to observe.
And I'm sure having your son help is
yes, I do.
it's
All
a
my
huge,
children help, thank goodness, yes. But
That's
my
awesome.
son is, yeah.
Well, I mean, I have ideas that I think would be great. I mean, in my column, I talked about how important it is for our elected officials to invest in things like this.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm talking to any candidates who are running for county supervisor right now, or any incumbents. I mean, this would be a perfect project to subsidize, to invest in, to find the funds for, and to help grow.
Yes.
I mean, at the very least, with awareness.
Yeah.
To get the public aware of the service that you have to offer, because it's I mean, it's vital to this community.
Well, the stories I've heard just from the few people I have got are, I work in this home and I'm stuck there all day and I have to ask my boss for a ride, knowing that you can actually pick me up just a few blocks away from.
It's going to be
just
huge
right
relief.
there, just frees me. These produce workers that are paying $25 a day.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Just for
the day.
traffic, and then I mean that's a huge chunk of what they make per day.
Exactly.
And that's money that could go to rent, to housing, to food, to any necessities that they have. I mean, I really think that this service is exactly what this community needs, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you get the word out.
Well, I really appreciate it. I really do. Yes.
All right. So, if anybody watching right now, if you are interested or curious, come on
Get
down.
On the bus with me.
There's a phone number right there, 520-820-9152. That phone number is for the bus service, correct?
Yes.
Does that go directly to you?
It goes directly to me. I have the phone with me in the bus.
All right, and that's you're available from.
I'm available from 6 a.m. and then around 5-ish, I turn off the phone. Because I'm home making dinner. I still have duties at home too.
Absolutely, that's the hours of operation for this.
Yes,
this
but I will get to every single message you send me in my messenger. Maybe I might miss a couple on Facebook because there's just
that's another thing is they can also find information on Facebook, which is Rio Rico Rides DBA.
Yes, Rio Rico Rides DBA.
All right, and you'll find all the information available about. I mean, I'm assuming you have information on where your stops are and things like that, so people can plan.
Yes. So right now I was starting at 7:00 last week because I figured produce houses in Rio Rico, and then people started asking, can you be there earlier? So I'm there earlier for anybody who goes to the industrial park area. I will come out at IHOP. If you want to be dropped off at the school, Nogales High School, I can drop you off on the corner at IHOP and you can just walk to school. And then from there, I just go down Mariposa and then I will turn left and I am adding Community Food Bank. I started that today. And I also have a schedule of the days they're open.
Cool.
And then from there, I'll take from the Old Tucson Highway, go back to the warehouses back there, come out, do Love's Truck Stop, Pilot, and if there are any requests, and only for right now until I get
once you get the route established, it'll be different.
I'm not heading all the way out to Family Dollar because I have done that many times. It's just
Well, and that's the point. Well, that's the whole point, like you said, is
I want them to be out there.
You're identifying the needs.
Yes.
And then once you figure out, and once people figure out where you are, that's where they'll gather. That's where you'll pick them up, and then and it's gonna go super smooth. It's gonna be so cool. I'm so excited to see this grow. To be honest.
Thank you. Right now, I'm more personable with the riders. If I have no customers on, I've literally taken them directly there. Only because I know, they're not going to sit for half an hour while I wait for more customers.
Yeah, exactly.
But once I get more customers, and which will happen, I will have a
established
route. Yeah.
All right. This is awesome. This is very cool.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Me too. I think I'm going to actually probably use it a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, I mean, do you have anything to add before we get to the next portion of the interview?
Don't be hard on me, that's all.
Don't be hard on you? Okay. So now comes my favorite part of the interview. The trivia.
Okay.
All right. And like I said, as I was talking to you before the cameras went on, this is my favorite part.
Okay.
Because it gives me an opportunity to learn something I didn't know. And it gives me the opportunity to put people on the spot.
Okay. That's my job.
I do tailor the trivia to the subject matter at hand. And so I chose public transportation.
Okay.
And it's going to be the history of public transportation
Okay.
specifically. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this. Question number 1. The very first form of public transportation was the ferry, dating back to ancient Greece. Public transport on land didn't come around until much later. In what year was public land transport developed? A, 1847, B, 1521, or C, 1662?
B.
B? No, it was C actually. I would have thought B too. I would have thought B too, honestly. Because C felt like it was so late.
Yeah.
Like when I was reading, it's like, that can't be. Like there had to have been something before
I
that.
was like,
And so there was transportation, but there was no public transportation.
public.
Like there were wagons, but they were only private wagons, and mostly because only rich people could afford wagons.
Yeah, well, that's true, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what I learned in this
Yeah.
research. All right, question number 2.
Okay.
The first public land transport, which was in 1662, was similar to the modern bus. In fact, it was called the bus, and was designed to transport people, but with a horse, right?
Okay.
With a horse. Was designed to transport people around a famous large city that is notoriously difficult to navigate. In which city was the first bus service implemented? A, Paris, France, B, London, England, or C, New York City? Now remember, it was 1662.
1662, so I am going to say Paris.
Yes. Good job. All right, Paris, France in 1662.
That's the first thing that came to my mind before you gave me the...
Yeah, well, it is a notoriously difficult city to navigate. There's a river that cuts right through it.
Wow.
Well, so does London. Also has a river that cuts right through it. But it's just the way that Paris was designed, or was is very difficult to navigate. All right, question number 3. The first bus service was called the Carrosse à 5 Sols and was developed by a French philosopher and mathematician. What was his name? A, Leonardo da Vinci, B, Blaise Pascal, or C, Voltaire?
I want to say Voltaire.
It was not Voltaire. It was not Voltaire. Voltaire was... He was a little bit earlier. He was in the 1500s, but he was also not a mathematician. He was a philosopher, though. It was B, Blaise Pascal.
Well, you think, because I've seen transportation companies called Voltaire, so I was like...
So Voltaire is actually one of my favorite philosophers.
Oh, wow.
He's written a couple of my favorite books.
Oh,
But
I'll look him up.
That's why I put him in there. So the one that I want you to look up specifically is Candide, because it has nothing to do with public transportation, but it has perspective.
What's his name?
It's called Candide.
Candide. Okay,
Yeah,
Candide.
Candide.
Okay.
And it is hilarious and disturbing, and just it helps put things in perspective.
Okay. Candide. All right.
So Blaise Pascal was the inventor of the bus. Yes, and it only actually lasted for about 15 years. And there was no other public transportation until the 1700s.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's crazy, right?
It's amazing, yeah.
I can't
And in
believe it.
Nogales?
Yeah, in Nogales? I'm not sure.
2023.
Yeah, 2023.
Rio Rico.
That's Rio Rico is 2023
Yeah.
public transportation. Awesome. Well, you did a good job, actually.
Yeah,
You got
I got
1 out of
one.
3, which is better than a lot of people did. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Joe.
Thank you for starting this service, this public transportation service. I mean, it's something that I've been thinking of, like that's been on my mind that needs to happen for a long time. And I'm so glad that you're the one that did it.
Oh, thank you.
And I cannot wait to see this grow.
Me too. I really appreciate it.
All right. And that is it for our show. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you tuning in, and we will catch you later. Have a great week.